There we go. Okay, Deborah, we're building a bridge to the new year. I'm excited about next year. What about you?
Oh yeah,
It's going to be a great
definitely.
year.
Oh, it certainly is.
I'm going to have all sorts of things. A year from now, this time next year, we're going to look back and have all kinds of excitement to enjoy and celebrate. So let's kind of get going on that. And really the idea here is, and you of course haven't gone through many holiday seasons with Pampered Chef, know that it is a time of year that has wonderful benefits of Pampered Chef because we have a lot of freedom in what we're doing with our business, but also one that we want to have a strategy about moving into the new year so that we can kind of hit the ground running once we are past enjoying the holidays, right? So that's the idea here, is to be proactive in building a bridge instead of just kind of ending up in January going, all right, now what? And taking another month to kind of get things back on track. So instead, we want to do this and really look into why we want to plan ahead. And so there are 4 things really to kind of think about moving into January. Because there's so much to take advantage of in January, and all the more reason that we want to make sure that that's a strong month that we plan for, that is very sort of strategic instead of we'll see what happens kind of an approach to January, because we don't want to miss out on these things. The first one, of course, being the second month of free for all, earning those free products. We don't even have to know what they are to know we're going to want them, right? Isn't that always the case? They come out with new things, and every time, we want them, and the more we can get for free, the better. So definitely that's a thing we want to take advantage of that the company is offering. So the free for all is part of that. The first month for a new incentive trip program that we just learned about, being just a little over halfway through this Excellence Award year. And then the fact that January is going to kind of set the tone for the year, and might as well start that out from the beginning. So first of all, that free-for-all, of course, we have the 4 different levels of that we're earning both this month in December, and then another batch of products in January. So for sure want to take advantage of that at the $1,000, $2,000, $3,500, and $6,000 levels, okay? And, this is the only time we have to earn those free, and so it definitely makes sense to go for it and be able to enjoy having those things shipped directly to us, all for free once they introduce the new products at the end of January. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Of course, the second one, Irresistible Destinations 2018. So did you watch the video for that? I know that you had a show, I think, the night of our meeting, right?
Yeah.
When we did it live. But of course,
Live.
you've had that, for you to go back and take a look at. What did you think?
Well, Scottsdale is always very much in my thoughts because my kids are in that neck of the woods, and
right.
Hawaii, I'd love to go back there.
I know you went to Hawaii and had a blast there, and I'll tell you that hotel resort in Scottsdale is gorgeous. I was really, when I'm watching that video going, holy cow, that just looks like a beautiful place. So definitely, and of course, any trip Pampered Chef sends us on is going to be a good one. So being able to start strong in the new year at the beginning of that incentive earning program just is going to make it so much easier to carry that on throughout the whole rest of the year.
Yes.
Now, of course, Excellence Awards, that runs from June to May. So as I said, we've got 5 months left in this year's Excellence Award year. So for anybody who is working on that this year, maybe even just kind of discovering, hey, I might, even if that was not a goal of mine a few months ago, I'm ready to make it one and really, see what I can do here in the next 5 months. The other thing is that even if somebody, any of us, was not planning on it for this year, not really a goal, not something that you thought was within your range, so to speak. The other thing is that there's going to be a new excellence year starting in June of 2018 because, of course, this is every year. We have that opportunity again and again to do some great things with our business and to get the great rewards that come with excellence. So when we start strong in January and have a whole spring that's really geared up to having a strong business, then when June of 2018 comes and that's the beginning of the next year's Excellence Award year, it's just going to be a continuation, more of the same. You're going to be really primed for having that year, that 2018-19 year, be an awards year for any of us too. So of course, more details about that. I've got some on the screen here, but there are more details about that on Consultants Corner as far as, what you do to earn it and what you get for it. And anybody who has questions can talk to Cheryl. Has earned it the last 2 years, and I'm sure would be happy to share her thoughts about earning excellence. And then the fourth reason to really be looking at going into January with a plan is because it does set the pace for the year. Anytime that you can really have a strong month getting started, moving forward from that, it's going to be a lot easier and more solid maintaining that. So having it start now then is going to lead you into February, into the beginning of the new season, into the spring and summer season, of course, into that new excellence year that we talked about, all those sort of things, as well as different goals that people have. Maybe it's a sales goal, maybe it's a certain amount of money, a promotion to the next level of, senior consultant, team leader, director, all those sort of things. So this time of year, that's sort of a natural time for people to be making resolutions, trying to start fresh, do some things maybe a little bit differently. It really lends itself to our Pampered Chef businesses too, as far as moving into a new calendar year with something really solid to work with in January. So with that in mind, we're going to look at bookings. Okay, so I want you to look at this line, okay, and take a second to try to see if you can read what it says. Because we're talking about bookings, and we know that our hosts in January and every month love getting free products and great discounts, the host specials, whenever that, whatever's going on that month. But there's another thing that's really important as well that comes into people booking shows. So I want you to take a second, see if you can figure out kind of the code here.
I got it.
You got it. Ooh, look at you.
Should I tell you?
You probably should. People are going to watch this recording. I guess we could give it another, say, 10 seconds or something to see what they, what anybody else might come up with. But what did you come up with?
I want my friends to be glad I invited them.
Yes. And you know what? I really should have another slide in here that shows that after you. So what did you do to get that, Deb?
I just kind of saw it.
Really? Wow. I'm impressed. Good for you.
Wow. The word be jumped out, and then glad, and I don't know, just was jumped out.
Well, the way it works is that if you remove all of the X's, there's just one letter that needs to be removed, and it leaves you with that line. I want my friends to be glad I invited them. And that can include all kinds of things. People are glad you invited them when they had fun, when they learned something, when they had some good food, when they found some products that are going to be, a great benefit to their kitchen, when they had an opportunity to book their own show so that they could get some free things, when they just had a night out, whether it was, they had a stressful day at work and they needed to just relax. Maybe they were home with kids all day and they love getting out and having a chance to talk to grownups, whatever that might be. All of those things really lend themselves to that whole idea of a host feeling like they want their friends to be glad they invited them, because that's where the host feels good, not only about, of course, the free products and the great benefits that they get as a thank you from Pampered Chef, but feeling good about what they are offering to their friends. And making sure that that's something that their friends leave feeling like they're really glad that they came, that this was a fun thing, that they, would be happy to do it again, that they would like to repeat the experience at their own house by booking a show. Or, very often too, you've got even people who are glad that they were invited because it maybe introduced them to an opportunity to make some money, to, start their own business, all those sort of things. So we want to make sure that when we're talking with hosts about bookings, certainly a lot of it is about the concrete host benefits of free and discounted products. But it's also about the fun that they can have, the experience that they're going to have, and the fact that their friends are going to thank them for hosting a show and giving them an opportunity to come to this great Pampered Chef party. Okay. So starting with those, kind of going it back to the benefits that the company offers, it's real important, of course, every month to be very familiar with what the host benefits are, because the company offers these as an incentive. And of course, an incentive means that encouragement or a reason for people to do something that they either might not do otherwise, or might hesitate, might be a little undecided, kind of help them to get off the fence, so to speak, and give them something that to look forward to. And so of course that happens in everything from us earning a trip to Arizona to a host getting a free popcorn maker. But whatever it might be, it's really important for the host to be able to get those things. It's also important for us as consultants to be knowledgeable about it, to know what's being offered, to make use of it. If we have a host who ends up getting that family-sized microwave popcorn maker free and has no idea why, and it's just a nice extra bonus, well, that's a great thing. Then they're going to be happy about that, but it defeats the purpose of it as an incentive. So the host benefits, whether it's free products or the 60% off or the free popcorn maker, any of those shouldn't come as a surprise to the host. If they do, then we might want to rethink a little bit how we're approaching these things, because it's a tool. It's a marketing tool. This is a business like any other, and these kind of things are marketing tools that the company provides for us in our business to help people to decide to have a show, to have a great show, because, for example, the double free product starts with shows that are $650 or more. So it's not only is it valuable in helping someone to say, yes, I want to have a show this month, but I want to have a big show. I want to have a great show so that I have that incentive to, bump up the sales, rather than just saying, oh, okay, well, I had a show, as long as it's at least $200, then I'm going to be happy because I can, get the 60% off thing. Those sort of things are great, and they do happen sometimes, but we don't want that to be what we're shooting for. We want it to be a booking and then as great of a show as it can possibly be. So it's really important for us as business owners to be taking the marketing materials that the company offers and really putting them into action. So, for example, that popcorn maker, that's for people who, shows that are held and submitted between the 1st and the 10th. So that's an opportunity for us to really help some hosts to focus on getting shows early in the month and getting that as just a totally free bonus thing on top of everything that they get to choose for themselves for free. Of course, like I said, the double rewards, very often for many people, that's the reason they host in January. But then we're going to also get into host coaching, not on this meeting. That's a whole bit of a separate thing, but really helping them to have a show where they will get those double rewards because it's $650 or more. The 60% off thing, I've noticed this, and I don't know if they're going to continue it, but I think it's really neat that they have recently been offering 60% off things that are not the same thing as what's in the catalog. So, for example, in November, we had the carrier for the Rock Crock slow cooker sets. The carrier was not available, although the carrier was not available in the catalog. And so in January, we have products that, yes, they are all in the catalog, but anybody else, any other time hosting or getting a 60% off thing, they could get, for example, the spiralizer, but not all of those things 60% off. So really, that's a huge opportunity for us to be letting people know that not only are they able to get something 60% off during the month of January, but they can get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things in in that first set, 60% off. That's huge, being able to do that, not only at that discount, but with multiple products. Also the Rock Crock, the manual food processor. I mean, that's a really wonderful package. And they could get those things, of course, in the catalog, but being able to get not only the Rock Crock, but also those other things at 60% off, those are really unique to this particular month. So again, we want to know what's going on and make sure that as consultants, we are marketing these things in a way that's going to let people know how special it is and, what an opportunity they have by having a January show. You have any thoughts on the January host specials, Deb?
I think they're all great, really, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've given us quite a bit, and our hosts quite a bit,
mm-hmm.
to, really make good use of their money,
Yeah.
Big bang for their buck.
Mm-hmm.
And, the double and free itself is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, those January hosts can really clean up, when you're looking at what they're getting. Sort of like the half price combinations that we have in a catalog, where you might have all of the scrapers for half price, where they're, just using up one half price item but getting multiple things. So they're kind of extending that to the host specials with certainly more variety of products and an even bigger discount. So let's make sure that we make the most of what the company is offering on our behalf. Nothing out of our pocket, but a huge savings for our hosts.
Yep.
So this is where we get to the planning part. So you have a piece of paper?
Yep.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is list 10 people you can invite to host a January party. I'll give you a minute to do that.
Do you want full names or just
whatever is going to be meaningful to you?
Okay. Okay, got it.
All right. And number 2 is 10 people you can invite to host a virtual or catalog party.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on those. I'd have to look through my Facebook.
Okay. You can go back and do that. Could be Facebook friends of yours, people who have hosted previously, or guests from some other virtual parties, or, old school catalog parties. Even before virtual parties, we've always done catalog parties,
Right.
with people who, so that you might have people who are not online that still, rather than, maybe a cooking show doesn't work if they live too far away, or,
I have one closing this Friday that's what it is, because she's not on Facebook, and so
yeah, so that definitely is still an option. All right, and number 3, write down one host who will never cancel.
all
right, who's your host who will never cancel?
Myself.
Yes. Exactly. Now, you notice that on here, both number 1 and 2, it's listing people you can invite to host a January party. And I think the word invite is an important part of what we're talking about here. We sometimes talk about asking for parties, for people to host a party. And I think, though, that one of the areas that can get a little bit tricky is if it comes across for them or for us feeling like we're asking them to do something for us. Okay? Pass me the salt. You're asking someone to do something for you, right? Or could you drive me someplace? Those things, usually when we're asking something, it's asking someone, or at least not necessarily, maybe usually is a stretch, but often it's asking them for something for our own sake, right? And I think that can be a little bit tricky and make people a little bit hesitant, a little self-conscious, if they feel like they're asking someone to do something for them, okay? When we talk about asking, the ask is asking them if they would like to have a show. Ask them if they would like to have fun with their friends, if they would like to get free products, if they would like to learn some new recipes. So we're asking a question, but we're not asking them to do something for us. And it might seem subtle, but it's a really, really important distinction, because if we feel like we're asking people to do something for us, it can really feel a little bit yucky. It can feel like we're imposing, like we're being pushy, like we're asking them to do us a favor. And that's not really the approach that we want to take, partly for our own sake and our peace of mind, and also because it's just simply is not true. It's not necessary in terms of the approach that we take, okay? When someone is doing a show with me, they're not doing it for me. They're not doing for my sake. They're not doing me a favor by having a show. We're doing something together that is as much of a benefit to that host as it is to me. Absolutely, I'm getting something from it. This is a business. There's nothing wrong with that. When you go into Starbucks and they give you a coffee and you give them money, you're not doing them a favor. They're not doing you a favor. It's a fair exchange of things. Everybody wins, right? That's how it should be. And so I'm certainly benefiting when I have a party with somebody, but they are also benefiting. So if I'm asking them about having a show, it's not asking them to do it for my sake because I need them to do it because I, trying to find somebody who's willing to do me a favor. What we're asking is the question, the sort of thing of if they would like to enjoy some of those benefits I mentioned. And so one of the ways to maybe turn that around a little bit and make it feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more accurate really, is to think of inviting people. So you would invite people to come to a party, but you can also invite people to host. Okay. And if you're inviting somebody to a party or inviting them over for dinner or something like that, they're not doing you a favor, right? By coming to dinner. If anything, you're doing them a favor. You're making them dinner. So the dynamics have changed a little bit. And I think it's an important distinction, particularly if any of us feel a little bit, like we're being pushy, like we're bothering people, like we're imposing on them, or like we're asking them to do something for us. And it's a very, very important thing, but sometimes a little bit hard to identify. So I think it's something for all of us to kind of think about. Everybody's in a little bit different place with this. And, I think if we are in a place where it's something you're considering and you're kind of going, okay, am I doing that? Is that sort of try to analyze how you feel about talking to people about bookings. But if you feel like you're being pushy, if you feel like you're talking to somebody and you're maybe imposing on them and asking them to do something that they might not want to do, then it might be time to kind of re-examine the way that you're presenting it, the way you're thinking of it yourself, and how that's going to come across to people, and making sure that you find a way to do it that feels good for you and for them, so that you're doing, and again, in this case, using that word invite, because you're inviting them to get free products. You're inviting them to have a great time with their friends, to make some food, to learn a new recipe, to learn about these products. This is all a very much a benefit for the person that you're inviting to do it. And that can be part of the wording that you use, is even, I wanted to give you a call. I'm setting up my calendar for January, and I want to invite you to be, one of my hosts so that you're able to get in on these great deals that Pampered Chef is offering.
Or even just invite them to check out the different benefits that Pampered Chef is offering hosts in January.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I want you to, the word invite in here is not an accident. It's not just it doesn't really matter how you think of it or how you say it. There are a lot of different ways that you can say it, but I think the mindset that we have going into it is really the big key. And finding that place where we can feel really good about what we have to offer and inviting people to take a look at that, like you said, to take advantage of it, to enjoy it, to get the benefits of that in all the different ways that are possible, to include both the actual host benefit package that the company's offering in January, as well as all of the things like the food and the fun and the friends and the getting out of the house and the, those sort of things that, a little bit less tangible, but absolutely just as important, because we hear that all the time from people about how, they come to the party because it's fun, because they want to see friends they haven't seen in a while, because they want to get out of the house, because they want to go do something where nobody is, expecting anything of them, like that might happen at home or at work or things like that. So that inviting is definitely going to be a really big key. So now we've got what the next steps are. So this is kind of the next step in the plan. The first one is to book yourself. Since you're the host who's not going to cancel, this is a really good place to start. Okay. Now, Deb, and I know that you do this periodically, and did one not too long ago, I think, maybe in November, right?
Yep.
So if you're looking at booking yourself and setting a date or two during the first 10 days of January is what we have here. And setting 2 dates, and this kind of goes back to something that we often do with brand new consultants. So some of our team members are very new, but those of us that are not new can take the same approach. Setting 2 dates, the idea there is a couple of things. It could be both a live cooking show and a virtual show. So plan to host both yourself in that first 10 days of January. It also could be, for example, 2 live cooking shows at different dates and times. Maybe a weekday evening, like a Tuesday evening, and a Saturday brunch thing. Because then you're often going to, find that if people can't come to one, they can come to the other. And you can cover a lot of different people that way. So certainly at least 1. And 2 would be a great way to do it too. When you're looking at both virtual and live cooking shows, if you're a consultant who wants to do both, then that definitely makes sense. If you're a consultant who wants to do more live cooking shows, I really encourage you to do something virtual as well, because it is a marketing tool. You're going to have people in your life that can't do a cooking show. If nothing else, they live too far away, or they just don't have the time. For whatever reason, that's not an avenue that works for them. So certainly you can choose to only do that and not ever reach out to people, with social media or any other way. That's your choice, and that's okay. But just understand that there's going to be a chunk of people that you're sort of automatically leaving out of your business. So you kind of figure out what's going to work with you. But you certainly could do something virtual, even if you don't want to continue doing virtual parties, but it's a way of making sure that people know you're there. They remember that you're there. They have your information. You can connect with them in some way. Maybe you can do it for several days for a while, over the course of that time. You could do a 1-hour kind of a pop-up thing. There are a lot of different ways of doing that we're not going to get into the details, but that still is a great thing to do. Now, on the other hand, if you're really interested in being more of a virtual consultant, that's great too. However, it can be a lot of fun to do something live that involves food and having some friends over. So just make it an open house, make some food, put a few products out, say, you guys come on over. I'm testing new recipes. I'd love for you to come over and check them out. Tell me what you think. Because again, this is making sure that those people that are, in your area that can physically get together with you have that connection. Because so much of what we do is about relationships, about connections, about making sure that people, first of all, know that you're a Pampered Chef consultant and that you're the person that they're going to think of when they want to have a party, when they hear from somebody at work saying, hey, do you know anyone that sells Pampered Chef? You want to be that person for them. And so there are ways that we can do that can really help to build those relationships. So book yourself first. Now, the next thing to do is to take your calendar in January and circle the dates or put Post-it notes on them or something where you could do parties, whether they're live parties, virtual parties. Maybe it's a 1-hour kind of a virtual thing that you actually choose a date and a time for. Maybe it's an extended one, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 days, however you do it. So pick the start date that you want to do that, but circle the dates that you want to do those parties in January. Now, you may not want to actually do parties all of the dates you choose. So for example, if you want to do 2 shows a week, you might circle 3 or 4 dates within a week. And once you fill 2 of them, pull the other ones off. There's nothing saying that you have to do that. But the dates that you could do parties that you want to make available to people, you're going to have those marked so that as you then fill them up, you can juggle things around a little bit and say, okay, now I've already got 2 this second week in January. I don't want to do any more that week. I'm going to move to the 3rd week. But before those were booked, you actually had 4 the first week or the second week that you were willing and available to do them until somebody chose a couple of dates that kind of filled it up as full as you want. So with that kind of going on, then you want to also make sure that you are aware of those dates. So when you're talking to people, you can say, oh yeah, I'd love to do, get together with you and your friends and, take a look at some of our great new recipes. Is the, 9th or 10th better for you? So that you actually have an idea of what's on your calendar and what your next open dates are so that you can offer them to people. That's always better than a wide open calendar and saying, pick a date. You give them something with, 20 dates that are available and they're going to pick one and they go, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know, what do you think? And you can go back around, play a lot of phone tag or texting back and forth or whatever it is before you set a date. So you want to narrow it down to the ones that work for you, and then also have like 2 that you offer. Because if those 2 don't work, they're going to let you know if that doesn't work. And you can always say, oh, well, I also have this. But at least it helps to kind of focus it and keep it on the things that work for you. The third one here says, if someone says no to hosting, invite them to your party. This is why it's important to have already decided what you want to do yourself. The date or dates you want to do, whether it's going to be virtual or live or one of each or anything like that, have that ready to go. Because there are certainly going to be people who say no. They're just not interested, or it's not a good time, or whatever that is. So you want to be able to follow that up with, oh, that's no problem. I'd love for you to come and be my guest at my house and, join us for this. And you might be saying, I've got parties going on Tuesday night and Saturday morning. Which one is better for you? What would be better for you to, come and hang out and visit and, try out some new recipes, that sort of thing. So having that option open for people when you're talking to them is also really helpful, so that it's not a, all or nothing deal. If they're not interested or it's not a good time for them to host, there's kind of a backup plan for them to still be involved in what you're doing. All right. So it's a great idea to look at what's your goal and what you want to do in January, how many shows you want to do, what you want your sales to be, where you kind of want to go with this. So Deb, have you given that any thought?
I have.
Okay. What's your goal?
My goal is to do 2 shows each week. So
okay.
Total of 8 shows for the month.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much
that's going to be a great start to your year.
Yeah. Yep.
Good for you. Yeah. Good. How are you coming along so far and getting those bookings set up?
Well, let's just say.
Not quite there yet?
No, not quite.
Okay. That's fine. We're certainly not trying to put anybody on the spot, but I'll tell you what, the important thing is the goal that you've thought about and determine what you want to do. Yeah. Because then, the rest you have that to work towards. So that's absolutely perfect. Yeah. All righty.
Yeah.
So the secret to getting ahead is getting started. I love that quote, because so often we kind of think and we mull and we go back and forth, and there's a lot of hemming and hawing and, not a lot of actual movement. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But, it's always sort of a work in progress. And I think this is a really great thought to keep in mind as we're moving into the new year. The holidays are going to be so awesome, and it's always great to be able to enjoy those, and we're going to enjoy them even more if we know that we've got a nice January month to look forward to jumping back into our business afterwards as well. Now we've got a script that the company, they periodically do scripts for there's customer care calls or booking calls or what have you. And I do have one to kind of go along with this moving into January, some suggestions for words to use and whatnot. So I'm going to be posting that in the files on their Team Freedom group, so that if you'd like to use that, you can print that off and kind of use that as some words to go along with. And it has, whether you're calling past hosts or just customers, maybe somebody that's never hosted before or anything. And even when someone says no, thank you, again, like we talked about, invite them to your January party. I'd love to see you again. Can I invite you to my customer appreciation party on January whatever? And you can call it whatever you want. It could be customer generation. It can be a, winter something or other. I know, Deborah, you're getting some snow up there, I believe, right?
Oh my gosh.
I've been seeing that on Facebook from a bunch of my friends up there.
Morning from HE double hockey sticks.
Yeah. Well,
it took me an hour to shovel myself out.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah.
I won't tell you what it was in Tennessee today.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate
it. Boy. Well, so you can make up some kind of a fun, you're so creative, so you can come up with some kind of a fun, name for what you want to call it in January. It can be it could be a winter white sale, put everything that we have in the catalog that's white. Food shoppers and veggie strip maker could be 10% off or something like that for a white sale, or, just kind of have some fun with it. It could just be all about the food and whatever you're going to make. Maybe it's healthy eating or, desserts. I'm always, a fan of dessert parties. or whatever it is that you think would be fun. And there again, if you're going to do 2 different things, they could be different things on different days. Keeping it simple. You don't need to go all out. You don't need to make a ton of stuff. Just something that you can have some fun with, of course, food that you like, so that the leftovers you and Wayne can enjoy afterwards, and have lunch the next day or something. But really the focus being a chance to reconnect with people by getting in touch, inviting them to do a party themselves. And if that's not going to work for them, inviting to something that you're doing, to have that as just one way to still kind of keep in touch and maybe get some feedback. It could be something like a recipe tasting. We've got new recipes that I haven't tried, and especially now that it's just you and Wayne at the house, let them know, hey, I want some people to come and tell me what they think of these things.
Right.
So Wayne doesn't have to always be the guinea pig.
Of course, tonight, my mother-in-law had asked me to do some photocopying or some copying of some papers for her, and she came along with. I went and picked her up, and I figured, well, I'll invite her for dinner. Now, mind you, I have made the pork and apple roast. Have you made that?
I haven't made it, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen it in the cookbook. Yeah,
I've made that like 4 times.
Uh-huh.
I have never burnt it. Well, lo and behold, tonight, guess what I did?
Oh no!
And I don't know what it was. I think maybe I put it, because I had the sweet potatoes and the apples. They were so big, and I put them on 2 pans, and I put them on the bottom rack, and I think that was maybe the downfall. Because normally it's just, I only have 1 pan, and I put it in like the middle of the oven.
Yeah.
And so I think I was so ticked, because I'm like, I said, Wayne, how many times have I made this? And I've never burnt it.
Oh
but
boy!
Mother's here, and I burn it. Yay!
Oh gosh!
It still was good enough. But yeah.
Oh well, things happen.
Yeah. But I love that recipe. It's really quick.
I'll have to try it.
Very good. Very good.
Well, good. All righty. Well, thanks for getting on with me, Deb, tonight, so I wasn't talking to myself.
Oh, no problem. And it's, a good springboard.
Yeah. Well, good. And you'll have to, let us know on Facebook, and anybody who watches this, definitely we want to get that feedback from people on, implementing some of this, maybe using the script, your list of 10 people and scheduling your own, and just kind of get an idea of what's going on out there. And
yeah, I definitely want to look at that script, because sometimes you just, fall into a pattern that might not be as successful as some of the other words that are out there. So it never hurts to, take a look.
Absolutely. Well, I will post it as soon as we get done here, and I'll be posting the video too for anybody who was not able to get on with us. Awesome. And I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. In fact, I'm going to stop the recording. Where are we down here? Stop recording.